All right, well, hello, welcome to JCU's virtual Class of 2025 Admitted Student Celebration. My name is Abby Joyce, an Associate Director of Enrollment at John Carroll and John Carroll Class of 2008. John Carroll once again earned the #2 spot among the best regional universities in the Midwest, according to the 2021 U.S. News and World Report Best College Rankings. That's because we strive for more than what's required academically, personally, and socially, and empower you to achieve what others see as improbable. We recognize that lifelong exploration connects us to endless discovery, wonder, and joy. So they'll graduate unafraid to pursue the unknown. Now, thank you for joining the Exercise Science and Sports Studies live stream and Q&A. Today's session will be approximately 30 minutes with time for questions from you, but also please feel free to add questions throughout the session in the chat, and our panelists will be able to answer during the Q&A. Please allow me to welcome Dr. Farnell, Chair of the Department of Exercise Science and Sports Studies.
Thanks a lot, Abby. And I just wanted to welcome everybody, probably the 17th person to welcome you all today. We do appreciate your time very much. And we put together a nice presentation for you today. We have a wonderful faculty. We put together a very nice panel of students if you have questions for them. But I just wanted to welcome you guys and give you an overview of the department and certainly the wonderful things we do and the wonderful faculty we have. So without further ado, Dr. Zara is going to talk to us about the exercise science program.
Hi guys, my name is Dr. Jackie Zara. I'm also a professor within the Department of Exercise Science and Sports Studies. So today, both myself and actually Dr. Brooke Turner are going to talk to you a little bit about the department as a whole, as well as a little bit more in-depth information about both the exercise science and the sports studies programs. And then we're going to finish up with some of the common things that we do as a department that support our students in both majors outside of the classroom, which really set us apart from other graduates. So one of the important things that you should know is that our department is made up of two very succinct programs, and they share a common thread of sport and exercise. While they do complement each other very well, and they have some areas of overlap with electives and things like that, they have very different aims and different career paths. So that's why both of us are going to be talking a little bit about each program today. So like Dr. Farnell said, I'm going to start off by talking about the exercise science program. And I think one of the most common misconceptions is that exercise science is just synonymous with PE or physical education. But as many of you might already know, it's really grown into much more than that. I like to think of exercise science as an umbrella term that encompasses many aspects of health and human performance. And really simply put, exercise science is an evidence-based discipline that focuses on human movement. And together with John Carroll's unique liberal arts education and interdisciplinary approach, an exercise science major at John Carroll is really prepared for a wide variety of graduate schools and career options. So to prepare you for those multitude of opportunities post-graduation, our curriculum is actually set up to provide you with a strong foundation of courses, including human anatomy and physiology, things like exercise physiology and ethics, with room for you to then individualize your electives based on your interests. For example, students interested in pursuing a career in coaching may choose to take courses like strength and conditioning or our technology and sport class, whereas students seeking a career in the clinical fields may decide to take courses like special populations or exercise in special populations. Our curriculum is also set up to allow for space for a minor to further individualize your coursework. Students who are seeking admission into things like occupational therapy or even medical and physician's assistant may choose to minor in things like psychology, or students pursuing graduate work in dietetics may work towards a minor in chemistry. And all of these minors are really well aligned with our major and the careers that our students pursue. One of the other things that's really unique about our curriculum is that it's actually set up to allow students to be eligible to sit for a number of certifications their senior year, which includes A couple important ones like the American College of Sports Medicine Exercise Physiologist Certification and the National Strength and Conditioning Association Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach Certification. So speaking of careers and what you do after graduation, what can you do with a BA in exercise science? Well, like I mentioned earlier, exercise science is really an umbrella term. It's a launching pad for a number of health and human performance careers. And with the ability to tailor your electives and your minors in combination with the strong foundation of major courses, exercise science majors are really prepared to apply for health profession graduate schools, including things like medical and dental school, physician's assistant, physical and occupational therapy, and chiropractic school. Our students are also really well prepared for master's and doctoral programs in things like exercise physiology, biomechanics, athletic training, nutrition and dietetics, as well as nursing. And if you're not interested in graduate school, our students are actually very well qualified and prepared immediately upon graduation for careers in coaching, strength and conditioning, corporate wellness, medical sales, wellness programming, and really, as you can see, the possibilities are limitless. So now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Turner to take over and talk a little bit about the sports studies program.
Thank you, Dr. Zara. So as Dr. Zara said, my name is Dr. Brooke Turner, and I am an assistant professor in the sports studies department, or in the sports studies major in our exercise science and sports studies department. And a lot of questions that we get is, what is sports studies? So sports studies is a very broad major that we can really help you tailor to get the career of your choice. And so there's a focus on sport related areas such as marketing, management, and communications. And the graduates of our programs will be mindful that sports and sport related professions encompass all age and all lifestyles and really vary from the elite athlete and a lot of different diverse populations as well. Some of our major courses are listed here, such as research methods, leadership and coaching, sports governance, areas and facilities of sports, organization and administration of sports. But the really important thing to note here is that we have two different tracks on our major. One of the tracks is sports and athletic administration. This major is one that focuses more on the business side of sports. So those students that choose this track will take classes over in the business department as well. We encourage a minor with sports studies, and some of those popular minors are business, entrepreneurship, exercise science, communications, and maybe psychology, just as a couple of things to suggest for you. The nice thing is that if you choose this track, an additional 5 courses will give you also a minor in business. Having those 5 courses in that minor in business will then give you what you need to apply for the 5th year MBA. So ultimately in 5 years, you will have a degree in sports studies, a minor in business, and then an MBA or a master's in business administration. The other track is sports, fitness, and wellness for diverse populations. For this track, we encourage our students to minor in potentially exercise science, business, or psychology. And in addition to that, we also have a dual major with economics. These are just some potential career paths: a front office of a professional sports team, an athletic director, whether that be high school or college, marketing and sales, also sponsorship for professional sports, media, social media and engagement, scouting, operations, and then coaching. And that could be from youth sports, high school sports, or college sports. We are very fortunate to have an incredible sports studies advisory board. If you can see these pictures where some of our advisory board members that visited our campus in the last few years, the sports studies advisory board is a really useful tool for us in helping our students network and learn from people that have been very successful in the field of sport. So if you can see on the far left side, this is Lee Reed. He's the athletic director at Georgetown University, and he came and spoke with our students last year right before COVID hit. The man in the middle is Oliver Luck. He was the president of the NCAA and is currently the president and CEO of the XFL, Also, those of you may know him as the father of Andrew Luck, who was the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, just to throw that in there for you all, a little bit of a name drop there. And then on the right side is Mike Buddy. He was the athletic director, he is the athletic director currently at West Point. And it's just such an incredible opportunity that these men took time out of their busy schedules to come in and meet and talk to our students and let our students pick their brain.
So, but one of the things that really sets our program apart, and especially our graduates apart, is what they do outside of the classroom. And one of the big things where that starts outside of the classroom is how we approach professional development and experiential learning. So both the exercise science and sports studies programs are what we call formation programs. And it basically means we've built in these crucial components into 3 courses that you'll take throughout your time at John Carroll, beginning with the foundations course you'll take as a freshman, culminating in an internship and a seminar course as a senior. So in collaboration with career services, you're going to be completing tailored professional development modules, as well as a series of practicum and internship hours. And all of this is basically to aid in your own professional preparation, as well as career exploration throughout your time at John Carroll. For exercise science majors, some of our internship placements are really up to you, and the possibilities are endless. And when I say they're up to you, I mean it can tailor to your interests and your needs. In the past, we've had students obtain and complete internships in hospital settings, physical therapy clinics, community wellness programs, in working with students with disabilities, working in private businesses, also strength and conditioning internships, where at all levels, from high school all the way up through professional baseball and professional football teams. And of course, there are a lot of opportunities right here on JCU's campus, which Dr. Turner will talk a little more about. But for exercise science students, that might look like in working in strength and conditioning and the athletic training rooms. Brooke, you're muted.
That happens at least 10 times every day for me, so that's about right. So to go along with what Dr. Zara said, we do a lot of our internships on campus just because of it's a really great experience for our students. It's right there. It's easy for those that don't have transportation to other places. We have students working with our sports information director, doing things for example, podcasts or live streaming, working with the camera crew for our games. We have a very unique partnership with Sponsors United, that they hire specifically John Carroll graduates and John Carroll students to do internships for them from our area in Cleveland. And we have a lot of students working for them that turn into full-time positions later on down the road. Also, because of our location, we are able to have internships with the Cleveland Indians, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cavaliers. Also, there's minor league teams very close to us, like the Cleveland Monsters. And we're fortunate to have great working relationships with some local high schools, such as Gilmore Academy, Orange High School, Benedictine as well, and also ESPN Cleveland too.
So another thing that our faculty do to support students outside of the classroom is actually by engaging students in research. We do have a very broad faculty expertise, so we've been able to support a wide variety of student research interests. And while this isn't a requirement of either major, we do find that a number of students, especially exercise science majors, have engaged in research at some level, and they really do enjoy it and have found it to be beneficial. As you can see on the slide, actually, a number of our students have gone on to present their research at local, regional, and national conferences, and have even published their research in scholarly journals. So our department also has a very active exercise science club. The majority of the members and the activities that are put on by the club are exercise, and they're geared for exercise science majors. But the main event that this club hosts is a community-wide event, which is an Exercises Medicine on Campus Week, and it's actually supported by students in both majors. And then the last thing I'll talk about before Dr. Turner finishes up for us is that all exercise science students also engage in community outreach. And this specific project is where they can put their skills to work in a real life setting. So in collaboration with some local first responders in some cities that surround John Carroll, JCU faculty and students actually run their wellness programming through annual fitness assessments. And this unique opportunity outside of the classroom is very beneficial, but it's also embedded into some of your courses. So students in some of the upper level courses will actually engage in these in real human subject research and real human subject interaction.
And then to take it one step further past just our local community is the global component. In the sports industry, the global component is a crucial part, and for our students to take part in that is something that we feel is critical for their education. So last year, we actually added an elective that both exercise science and sports studies students can take. Last spring break, that course traveled over to Ireland. Dr. Zara traveled over there with us. We were able to tour Croke Park and other professional sports stadiums. We met with local universities and toured their exercise science labs and also their sport facilities and talked to some of their coaches and some of their professors at the universities in Ireland. We were even able to go in and participate in Gaelic games, which is a really fun opportunity for us as well, so that we got kind of firsthand experience of what the athletes over in Ireland get to participate in a daily basis. So that wraps up, I believe, right? That wraps up our presentation parts of exercise science and sports studies. Next, what I would like to do is introduce the sports studies current student and one of our alumni that is on the call as well. First off is a sophomore for us is Ashley Mccall. She is a current sophomore double majoring in sports studies and political science. She also is double minoring in French and leadership development. So hopefully she will have a good perspective for you all in some different majors and minors that couple well with sports studies. And then Jessica Cook is a 2019 sports studies graduate with experience as a sales associate with the Pittsburgh Pirates and communication specialist for UPMC. She is also the author of Own It, Navigating the College Athlete Experience to a Successful Career and Life. So she's a published author as well. And we're really proud of her for her accomplishments. Dr. Zara, do you want to introduce yours?
Yeah, sure. So for the exercise science side, we have our current student, which is Brianne Baker, who's a senior and is currently in the process of applying for coordinated masters in dietetic programs, so to become a registered dietitian. And we also have our esteemed alumni who graduated in 2019, which is Maddie Steiner. And she is currently finishing up actually her degree at Chatham University to become a physician's assistant. So hopefully once she graduates, she'll figure out what her specialty is going to be. I know she's interested in oncology, amongst other things. But we're happy to have such great alumni and such great current students joining us today.
Well, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. This will allow us to have some time to answer any questions that you may have from the audience. So please feel free to throw some questions into the chat. But while we wait for some of those questions, I know we probably have some frequently asked questions that the faculty might want to direct to our students and alums.
Do we have any questions right now in chats or no? Not currently? Okay.
Nothing currently.
Jess, would you mind maybe talking a little bit about the internship that you had and how it maybe got the opportunity, kind of give you a leg into the opportunity that you have currently?
Yeah, definitely. So when I was at John Carroll, I majored in sports studies and minored in business and entrepreneurship, which I think was a really great pairing because it just gave me more of a broad perspective on the business side of sports and then also business in general and kind of just myself help discover some of my interests. And so when I was going through the process, my junior year of college of looking for internship going into my senior year, one person on campus that I was able to pick the brain of was Dana Funyak, and she is one of the athletic directors on campus, and she was from Pittsburgh, just like me, and had a cool perspective on things and a different path to get to John Carroll in athletics. And one thing she suggested was that I look at healthcare organizations because in some way, shape, or form, they oftentimes have affiliations with sports teams, and who knows, one thing could lead to another. So I took that advice, and because of her, I was able to land an internship at UPMC. It's a large hospital chain here in the Pittsburgh region. And it wasn't in sports, but the fact that I was able to vocalize like my interest in sports, they made it possible for me to go on some of those trips with the UPMC sponsorship team and check out how the ribbons look at Heinz Field and just see some of the behind the scenes aspects that go into having sponsorships at sporting events. But then it also gave me that internship also gave me a deeper perspective on some of my interests and what it's like to, be a working professional, give presentations, and just work on a lot of my professional skills. And through making connections at that internship, I was able to land a job with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it was a great experience too. I worked there for about a year, and through more networking, I was able to go back to UPMC eventually, but it kind of just highlights how important the connections you make on campus and then also in your internships are, because you just never know when it'll circle back or when someone will have another opportunity. But I think that's one thing that John Carroll, taught me too, about building those relationships and how important they are. So that's a little bit about my story and how I got there.
Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to actually throw it to our exercise science students. And Maddie, we'll start with you, and then Bree, you can follow up too, of how your experiences and things that you've been doing or when you were at John Carroll, how that set you up for graduate school and how you think that it formed your experience.
Sure. So I think the big things that come to mind, kind of backing off Jess, is that internship that we do with Biggie, even starting freshman year, because originally I wanted to do PT, but it was that exposure to the PT and PA fields, the observation hours that we had to get, that kind of started piquing my interest in that career path and kind of started taking those next steps for it. I think the other thing too is the practical experience you get through the exercise science courses, that you're in the lab, you're doing it hands-on. You're not just listening to a lecture, getting a PowerPoint and taking a test. Thinking now as a PA, you're evaluating a patient, you're creating a prescription or a treatment plan, and looking back on the exercise science classes, that's a lot of what you're doing is you're creating fitness assessments or exercise prescriptions, you're collecting data and communicating with that patient. So I think that's another big thing. And then going on to what Dr. Turner talked about, the certifications, the one big one, city training. It's a research-based training. My last rotation in oncology, actually, the doctors were really into research and they had their PAs and NPs getting that city training. So I was kind of able to relate to them and see, oh my gosh, I've done that before. I can recertify, and having the background too, with outside classroom, working for Dr. Zara, doing research for her, writing grants and IRBs, and knowing that how that process is already integrated before you actually even get into the field. And those are things you really don't learn in the classroom.
So then how about Bree and Ashley, you guys talk a little bit about your experience as current students and what drew you to exercise science and sports studies, and how you think it's going to set you up to be successful long term.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. So I'm exercise science major, and I originally wanted to be a PA for the longest time. I was just PA. So I started working with Dr. Zara in the exercise science lab with first responders. We give them physical fitness tests, and like building those relationships with them, I really enjoyed. And then when we have to do the internship, I also did with Dr. Zara with firefighters, and she gave me the opportunity to do my own independent research, which is an amazing opportunity that John Carroll and the major gives you. And so I was very interested in nutrition. And so she helped me form a research plan with the first responders to be able to do that. And since then, now I'm going to grad school to be a dietitian, completely different than what I thought coming in. It just gave me a new perspective on what I wanted to do. And this I figured out the summer before my senior year. So I really didn't know what I was going to do up until the very last year. So things change, and they helped me set me up for being able to go there. And Dr. Zara gave me a lot of connections and amazing experience with the first responders, and being able to do the independent research definitely, I think, set me up and separated me from other potential grad like students for the program. So it was really great.
Yeah, kind of just going off of that, I feel like something that really drew me to the sports studies department was how much the professors cared about you inside the classroom as well as outside. They give you so many opportunities that will help further your career, bringing in career services, helping you build a resume, just something that it's not even just about the material. You're still getting that aspect of it, but it's also the outside future plans that they help you through too. And that was something that I really, really wanted. I want to work in the NFL, and that's something that you kind of need. They always preach about networking and connections, and that's something that the sports studies department really shows.
I can just back that too. I'm sure it speaks on behalf of all the faculty, but I'm 2 years out from graduation. And I think I've emailed Dr. Zara like 3 or 4 times for different recommendations and references. So those are relationships that stick, and it's communication that is continued even after the classroom is done.
Yeah, and going off even like further with the faculty of this department is I originally started off in bio, like a major in bio, and they were great. But then I moved to exercise science, and the very first time I met my advisor, Dr. Zara, she met with me we talked for like 2 hours. She sat down with me because with science majors, it's really hard to study abroad, but I really wanted to do that. So she sat with me and helped me plan my 4 years, the first time ever even meeting me. And it was just, I appreciated it so much, them spending the time trying to help me do what I want, but also set me up good for the future. It was really great.
And I think the more you go into like the college search process, and even once you're in college and you're just like Bree, you figure out maybe late like what you want to do. I think the one thing that John Carroll and then this faculty in particular does very well is that they understand that each person's path is so individualized, and that no one technically gets there the same way. Like there's not always like a roadmap that you can follow. And so they really do what they can to help you reach your goals and help you become the person that you're looking to become along the way. But each approach that they take is different based on the student, their interest, and their goals.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's just about 12 o'clock. Please feel free to stay on if you have any last minute questions, but we hope that you can continue your afternoon or morning with us here at Virtual Celebration. Our next session should be at 12:15 p.m. But if there are any other questions, please feel free to ask our group. And thank you for joining.
Thank you.
All right.